Strength like no other. If you're wondering what I'm doing up here this morning, Reverend Temple and I are doing what we do, and we're batting each other a home run. Because we flow so much in the Spirit. And probably a week or so ago, Reverend Temple said, would you share the message with me next Sunday? Sure. Is there anywhere that you want me to land so you can run with them? She said, no. Just be yourself. Almost. But the beautiful thing I love about Reverend Temple and I, we aren't only co-laborers in ministry, we're best friends. We can sense when each other's having a rough day, and we don't claim that, but we sense it in our energy. And I love that. And I love that you're a sister. We have said many times, even if we weren't in the same church together, we would still be good friends. And that's a blessing for you, because then there's no battles here, which you have in a lot of churches. So Reverend Temple said, just move in the Spirit, as I always do, because I can't help it. That's why it's called a new ministry. And you know, as a pastor, you prepare a message. Lots of times we can prepare it on the last hour, written out on a napkin or something. But last night I sat down to study because I texted Reverend Temple and I said, you know, what's the message? And she said, awakening the power of grace. That's all she said. So being a student, and I am working on my doctorates, I'm a studier, I'm always seeking. That's what I love about metaphysical studies. You look beyond the obvious. So awakening the power of grace. I thought, now what does that mean? So I started breaking it down. Excuse me. I said awakening. Awakening. I looked up the good old Webster's dictionary. And as if you're a pastor, and you know, awakening is kind of a broad term. You know, about 10 years ago, do you remember? Everybody had a book about awakening. Awakening this, and awakening that, and awakening this, and awakening that. And at the end of it, you didn't know any more than you did in the beginning. You know, you're all guilty of buying those same books I was. And the awakening was, you hoped that there would be another book to complete the first one, because the awakening, they didn't tell you what the awakening was. It's much like The Secret. Oh, The Secret. How many of you remember The Secret? I wish I had the money. You all bought all those CDs. I spent 2 years driving down the road listening to The Secret. Listening to The Secret and waiting on The Secret to be revealed. And at the end of the tape series, I'd go back to the beginning because I didn't find out what The Secret was. They used a bunch of terminology that I thought, okay, I'm not getting this. And the secret was, I wondered how I didn't drive into the ditch with all those monotone voices. But awakening the power of grace. Awakening means awaken from a sleep or from a slumber. How many here have been in a spiritual sleep? I wish more of you were truthful. Well, maybe I should say, how many of you were in a slumber? Okay, a few more of those. I'm guilty of it myself. And I honestly, earnestly ask the universe when I'm in a sleep, wake my butt up. And usually the universe does. So awakening. Okay, I figured out what the awakening was. It's knocking me on the head, waking me up. And then I thought, well, the power, awakening the power. What could be the power? The power is the power of knowing. Being a student of metaphysics, I'm always seeking the knowing. Someone once asked me, why are you an interfaith pastor? And some of you all have been asked that. Why am I an interfaith pastor? Because I want to know. I want to know because knowing is power. Let me rewind that so some of you will get it. Knowing is power. Power of knowing. Why do I want to study interfaith? Because I want to talk with my brothers and sisters of interfaith. I want to know when I sit down and talk to them. The sad thing is In a lot of religions, including some New Thought movements, they don't know anything except them. Right? So I wanted to get to know all my brothers and sisters. We're all flowing, get that flowing. And I wanted to know how to talk to them intellectually, with a little foreknowledge. Because a lot of people talk to a lot of gibberish jabberish and don't know what they're talking about. So the power was knowing. Awakening the power. Awakening the power of grace. Well, guess what? Let me think, this is 2018, almost 19. Almost 20 years ago, I wrote a book called Understanding God's Grace. Because grace is a term that religious circles throw around like it's popcorn in a movie theater. Grace. Do you know what grace is? I said, do you know what grace is? Woo, you're awake. More than the first service was. Awakening the power of grace. Well, I started looking up and studying grace. Grace is God, the creator, the source, whatever you identify through. It's unmerited favor. You can't do enough in your human flesh to even compare to the grace that is given you. The unmerited favor of God that's given to you. You can go 50% of the way. Grace will cover you 100% of the way. We often talk when we take up the offering, and I don't say it the way I say it just to be blowing air sometimes. And I jest with you. But grace, I can give a little, but the universe gives a lot. I love the story of the little lady who gave her last coin. And we were taught that all the rich people actually gave in vain because the little lady gave a coin, her last coin that she had. Then the universe gave her in abundance, gave her prosperity. So the awakening of the power of grace. Yesterday, I sat down to write some notes. And the Spirit showed up, as the Spirit always does when you ask the Spirit to show up. And I was sitting in the kitchen, and Chris was off at work. And I was seeking God's guidance. Sometimes that makes people uncomfortable. But I have to do it. That's why I'm called into ministry. So I was seeking God's guidance, a word for the people today about grace. And then this morning at 7:42 in the a.m., I got a telephone call. Actually, I didn't get a telephone call. I got a text from someone who doesn't get up before 10 a.m. 7:42, it said, "When you get a chance, give me a call, sweetheart." So if any of you, as many of us are, a little bit up in age, you know if you get a text from somebody at 7:42 and they don't get up to high noon, something's up. So I called my cousin, who was raised with me like a brother, and his mother is like a second mother to me. And I called him, and he said, "I just wanted you to know, to be the first one to know in the family, that Mama passed away at 4:10 this morning." Grace. Grace. And I figured out this morning that this message, if you benefited from it, it's fabulous. But this message was for me. It was about grace. Eric, you can continue to play. This one message was for me. You're a good offspring of it. But the message of grace was for me. Because my beautiful aunt, who was my mama's baby sister, my favorite aunt, was like a second mother to me, today made her transition in grace, in beautiful grace. She was a demonstrator of God's grace. I always say what shines on us, we give away, and that's grace. When she found out her baby boy and her nephew both were gay, against her religious ideas, she found the local gay bar, went in and bellied up to the bar and waited for us to show up. That's grace. That's grace. She battled with cancer for 3 years, and she elected the last 2 years to not to do any treatment because she said, this is me and God. She continued to take herself on vacation, work in her garden. She had Thanksgiving dinner. And then guess what? The universe said, it's time to come home. I hope that I have an ounce of the grace that she gave. An ounce of the grace that she gave. And I went back to awakening the power of grace. So it's awakening the power, the knowing of God's grace in each and every one of us. If that doesn't tug at your heart, read it again. Awakening the power of grace. Charles Fillmore said, God, as the great creative principle of the universe, will always meet us more than halfway. Thank you, Charles. By becoming receptive to the grace of God, we receive the measure of God, provision which exceeds any of our imagination. Metaphysically, in the divine paradox, it says, grace is the name given to the aspect of the divine law, God, which does not deal in even exchange, but increase of God through great giving. Eric Butterworth said it simple. Grace is the natural flow of the creative process in an individual. And then I loved 1 Peter 5:10 said, and this made me dance in my kitchen. I still like to dance in the Spirit. 1 Peter 5:10 says, the God of all grace will restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Establish you. Grace. God's grace. I'll give love. I can't outgive God. Only thing I can do is receive His grace. Her grace. Whatever you call God. And then this morning I walked into my office and I saw a pencil. And I thought, a pencil creates. Not by itself. Grace. Grace is the hand of God that helps you create. Helps you create your life, your destiny. The grace of God is yours in abundance. Thank you.
So Black Friday at my house is turning all the lights down and having a movie thon and hiding our phones so we can't find them. You know, that's always refreshing around this time of year, is to go and put your phone away and see how many hours without peeking. Oh, you're on the way to the restroom? You know I know. So anyway, sticking on point, it's Black Friday movie-thon. So a wonderful movie, Crazy Rich Asians. Oh my gosh. Love it, love it, love it. A must see if you haven't already. But it's so beautiful because the girlfriend has been invited by the boyfriend to go to Singapore from New York City because he wants her to meet his family. So she kind of got a clue when they were boarding the plane, and they were walking up to the front of the plane, and they owned the whole front section as a suite. I mean, it was like beyond a hotel room. And she went, "We can't afford this." And then she looked at him and she said, "Wait a minute, is your family rich? Are they like that rich?" He said, "We're very comfortable." She said, "Oh, then I know you're rich." Because that's what rich people say. I'm very comfortable. Say that with me. I'm very comfortable. When I think about all the years of learning these principles and relearning and forgetting what I know so I can remember what I could know, when I think about that within myself, when I think about it's the end of my life, and it's that day that I am completing this journey, there's one thing that is the greatest gift of grace I have ever received. And that is, I can look at any angel and any spirit guide and any entity or whatever will be there, and I can say, I am comfortable with myself. I am comfortable with myself. Wow. That's a huge statement, to be comfortable with yourself. Because what it means, in its very definition, is that you have discovered within yourself a strength, right? An inner strength and an inner core that no matter any storm outside, no matter what is going on, no matter what might be perceived as an immeasurable sense of chaos, which simply means a new way to order, right? No matter what is going on around you, you are comfortable because you know who you are. Not that your entire life is you know who everybody else was and you know what they thought of you, but that you are able to get to the place of knowing that you are comfortable with yourself. That's more than self-esteem. It certainly exceeds self-confidence. It certainly moves beyond competency, because you're at a level of awakening the power of grace that you can say, I am comfortable with myself, because you know that this level of energy is not coming from you, that you are not creating it in the morning over a frying pan, but that you are open to something that is so much more than your own life. So you are very, very rich. And you're very, very wealthy because you are comfortable with who you are. In the sea of opinions, in the sea of popularity, and the sea of what could somebody else possibly think of you, you can be in this space of, I am comfortable. I am comfortable. The light came on. I got it. All I'm really here to do is be me. No fake. No pretentious, no improv management, just be me. As my teacher would say on her dying bed, she got it. I got it, she said. All I needed to do was just be comfortable. Wow. Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable of knowing who you are? As I was looking at a book yesterday, a card fell out, and it said, Human Relations, 6 most powerful ideas and words. 6 words. I admit that I was wrong. Let's say them together. I admit that I was wrong. 6 powerful words. Wow. 5 most powerful words. You did a great job. You did a great job. 4 most powerful words. What do you think? What do you think? Isn't that empowering? 3 most powerful words. You, I love. You, I love. I want you to really feel the difference of that. So many people go, love you, love you. See? Baby's going, I couldn't agree with you more than that. Blah, 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 blah. Right. Thank you for the timing. I appreciate that, Brentwood. I love you. I love you. I love you. But what if you own it? What if in your heart you really own it? And you have that space where you look at someone and you say, you, I love. You feel the difference of that? You, I love. It's the most empowering statement because it's, I see you, namaste. I know that what is happening to you is happening to me at the same time, namaste. I know that in that place that I see you and I look within your eyes and I can scan and I can feel you, I feel myself. Wow. That's the awakening power of grace. It's when you live in such a place of humility that you are honored by everything and everyone, kind and unkind, always instructive, that you are in that sacred place. So the two most important words are thank you. And the one most important word is we. It's a we. Where we are, therefore, God is. What a blessing, yes? You want an example of faith? It's when you will go to a doctor you don't know and you get a prescription you can't read. And you take it to the pharmacist that you've never met and they mix up something for you to start putting in your body. That's faith. Right? The space I'm talking about with you today is knowing what's in your heart. And most importantly, knowing what's in your body. And knowing where it came from. And knowing how it will rise up. Knowing how it will continue to nurture you. Knowing how you will feel that immense energy of joy. You know, in all my years of counseling, one of the biggest things we always get to when people are sharing that their life isn't working and they're discouraged is they tell me how angry they are at God. And immediately I look at them and then I go, so what you're telling me is that you're extremely angry at yourself. And they always say, yes, I am. I said, you cannot blame what you will not claim. And sadly, pick a side. If you're going to be mad at God for what you feel God did not do for you, then why don't you start spending time thanking God for what God has done for you? Pick a side. You're either all in or you might as well be out. You either got to go all the way or don't even bother. You got to jump all the way in the water. Don't just stick your toe in. You want to be mad at somebody, be mad at me. But remember that at the end of the day, it is you who created your own reality by the incredible awakening of the power of grace. Stop being mad at yourself. It serves no one and it diminishes this planet. Rise up. Be in gratitude that you are who you are. No one can replace you, not even you. So let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. God bless you. Thank you for coming. There you go. Talk about it.